silly goose.
I bet you can't hear me. The exhaust fell off during the winter. Well, boys, she made it back in one piece. I am shaking. I was really nervous that whole time. My ears are ringing because my downpipe fell off. Didn't overheat, so that's good, but there's definitely something wrong, either with the fuel pump or alternator or something. It was like jumping up and down in RPMs a bunch, and it died a couple of times. Could be low on fuel. Ever since I started renting out the new shop, a lot of people have been like, oh, dude, that's so sick, but how did you get the car in there? There's not like an overhead door or anything like that. It's these green double doors. It's about 5'10", and there's about an inch on either side for air. It's sketch, but hey, man, if it fits, it fits. Well, we skipped a chapter, and now I'm on the other side of the Mark II trying to push it while the jack is holding it up in the air. I really should go get some like wheel dollies or something, but this is working. Do as I say, not as I do. That was scary. What's the worst that could happen, you know? As long as I don't hit the E30. That's probably the worst that could happen. Yeah, there it goes. Who needs rockers anyway? They're rusted out anyway. Well, we got it. It started. I'm sure you guys have done sketch here. Just nice and slow. Don't put my fingers in the wheel well, just in case it falls down. I do like my fingers. I do want those to stay intact, so. This is going better than I could have expected. I think at this point, we're probably good to drive it around and actually like start the car and push it around like that. So we're gonna do that instead of this. Because I don't like this. I mean, minus the carbon monoxide poisoning, I think it's fine at this point. Oh, you kidding me? It's dead. I was literally just running it. Well, add that to the list of things I need to get is a freaking battery charger. All right, if my landlord's watching, no more broken windows, I promise. See, but like in this case, it'd be really cool to have the wheel dollies because I could literally just pull it over a little bit. But now I gotta sit here and freaking shimmy and shake it to get it to where I want it, like right here. Awesome. If it didn't die, I could have just freaking drove it around. Stupid car. Hold on, I gotta think about this. Is this gonna work the way that I want it to? We're gonna find out. Feels like that one scene in Austin Powers where he's like stuck in the tunnel with the golf cart. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I don't know which way to go. Come on, you punk. Oh, you stupid. Doesn't help that one of the wheel bearings is like literally welded in the rear. Little boop. All right. This should be the last one. Last time. Go backwards. I think that's good. Do we think that's good? So the Mark II has a really big problem and it's completely my fault. I'm fully aware of why it happened and I could have 100% prevented it. And you guys are gonna roast me in the comments and that's completely fine. I'm fully aware like, oh, I screwed up and that was pretty dumb. So when I first got this thing running, instead of running antifreeze, like actual antifreeze, I was just running pure water from like straight from my hose because I was having leaking from the water neck on the side of the block. This water neck right here. So it was leaking coolant from there, and I didn't want to put actual expensive antifreeze into the engine. If I was just going to leak it out, I was just going to waste a bunch of money. And I ended up just running water for the rest of the season. And when it came time to park the car for the winter, I kept telling myself, oh, you need to drain out all the water and put actual coolant in it. Well, in the middle of November, we got this like massive drop in temperatures, and it was down in like the 13s, the 12s or something like that, Fahrenheit that is. And well, if you guys know anything about water, when it freezes, it expands, and all those tiny little coolant passages had water inside of them, and that expanded. And what I think ended up happening was I cracked the block where those water passages are. Now I know, completely stupid, 110% my fault. I could have prevented it, but I just procrastinated it, and I never remedied the issue. So why am I confident that I ended up cracking the block? Well, as I drove this car over here, you can see we're already leaking coolant, and I just put this car here. Somewhere around here, we got a crack or something because it's just peeing coolant out. Maybe I didn't crack the block. I mean, I really hope so, but honestly, at the end of the day, these engines are like $200. I can go to the junkyard and grab another one. But I fear if I grab another one, I might kind of go down the rabbit hole and be like, well, should I just turbo this thing? Maybe Arashi will send us another turbo and we'll get a turbo manifold and just turbo this thing. That'd be kind of dumb, but like, because the car is not, like, I don't want this car to be turboed. I don't want this thing to make 300 horsepower. It's a freaking Mark II. If you guys have ever driven a Mark II, 200 horsepower in a Mark II, horrifying. So if I throw any more power at this chassis, it's crusty. It's probably going to rip in half. But I mean, having a turbo back there would be pretty freaking cool. And then we'd have 2 turboed 5-cylinders. Like, that'd be pretty sick, I'm not going to lie. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull the front clip off, and then we're going to try to see if we can see any cracks or anything crazy in here. And I have a feeling that we're not going to be able to see anything, and it takes me about 30 minutes to pull the engine on this thing, so I might just pull the engine and just inspect everything. And luckily for me, I've already gone down this rabbit hole once. The entire front end is like brand new. The suspension, the subframe, like everything on the subframe is brand new. So I won't be able to go down the rabbit hole with this because it has all new bushings and everything. So we're not doing that. So we're just going to check over the engine, see if it's healthy, and then put it back in if it is. But if it's not, we might have to hit up the junkyard, grab another engine, and throw it back in there. All will be fine. And it's also having some sort of like dying issue. I don't know what's going on with that. It's probably out of fuel. The fuel gauge was at like empty. The fuel gauge does work on this thing. I kind of forgot how good the engine bay looks on this thing. The integrated engineering intake manifold and their billet valve cover with the APR high performance coil packs. Like, it looks freaking sick. Minus my AutoZone special air intake here. And I do need to clean up some of the wiring because I do have confidence that ever since I've built this car, I've gotten a little bit more patient and a little bit more skilled. So I think we can clean some stuff up. Luckily for you guys, I'm gonna quit yapping and I'm gonna get to work on pulling this front clip. So let's get to it. Aw, freaking bird pooped on my intake manifold? What? Just like every other Mark II in existence, Mark II grill in existence, this one is held on by zip ties. There we are. I only had 2 bolts holding this freaking core support in. Unplug the headlights. Ouch, 2. And then... Now it's at this moment in time that we can take a look at the radiator and see if anything, blew up in there. But she looks pretty good to me just on an eyeball assessment. I gotta take this thing out and it's gonna make a freaking mess. Luckily it's just water though. The one thing that we could do now that we're redoing this doesn't count as the rabbit hole because it was my fault and I was dumb for this. Let's get the right size hose clamps. No bucket, so water on the ground it is. That's fine. Who knows, there might not even be water in here. This bone dry. Oh, that one had water. Yep, that's good. Oh no, Mom, I flew up. It's fine, it's just water. 1 Mishimoto radiator coming right up. Let's go pour this out. So there was one leak back here that I was seeing. Behind this oil cooler is a coolant passage that runs from the thermostat over to the oil filter housing. I think the only way we're going to see if there's anything broken back there is if we just pull off the entire accessory bracket, and that's honestly easier with the engine out of the car. So I think we're just going to pull the engine regardless. Oh, I'm so dumb. That's completely my fault. You guys can make fun of me. This was my fault. I knew it was going to happen too. I watched it sit there all winter. I was like, yeah, I'm going to need a new engine come springtime. We're going to end the night off here and then reconvene tomorrow. So I came right after work. I'm hungry. I haven't had dinner yet. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Oh yeah, you already know what time it is. It's time-lapse voiceover time, baby. But yeah, as you guys heard, I opted just to pull the engine out. It's really easy, it takes me about 30 minutes to an hour. And this kind of gives me a good excuse to go over everything once again. Because if you guys know anything about my Mark II, this poor thing has been through hell and back already. So it'll be nice to pull everything, refresh all the seals, and do all that stuff. And maybe you guys are curious, like, that's not even possible. Water can't crack a block if you leave it in there all winter and it freezes. I don't know, maybe it's like an old tall tale, but I always hear boomers talking about, like, oh, don't leave your water in the car over the winter because it blew up my 350 small block Chevy. I really don't know if that's something that happens, but I'm just gonna pull the engine anyway, so it's no big deal. On a side note, I've discovered that some of my students have found my YouTube channel, my Instagram, all that fun stuff. So if you're one of my students watching my YouTube videos, go do your homework. I know you guys have math homework, I know that for sure, and I know you guys should definitely be reading and get off your phones. I don't understand it. They come up to me like, I got a phone, and they're like 7 years old. I'm like, how do you have a phone? Dude, it makes me feel like a boomer, man. I'm like, my first phone, I was in like 6th grade and it was a flip phone. You had to press the keys like 3 times to get 1 letter. And they start calling me Unk and stuff like that. I keep getting comments on TikTok like, oh, what's up, Unk? I'm 24 years old. Is this what getting older's like? Because dude, it sucks. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I wake up, everything hurts. I literally have arthritis in my knees already. I got diagnosed with arthritis in my knees at 19 years old. Every morning, my back hurts. Everything just hurts. My joints hurt. I think pretty soon you're just gonna have to old yeller me, take me out back. But I do think it's kind of funny that the students have found the YouTube channel because it kind of adds to like the depth of my lore. Because I remember as a kid, you wanted to try to get to know your teachers as much as possible and any sort of information that the other students didn't know about them. And you knew that information was like having a gold mine. I'm gonna poop myself. Because when you're like a student, you think of your teachers in only the school context, and you're like, oh, this person doesn't have a real life outside of this. They live at the school, they don't do anything else. Honestly, I don't really mind that they found my YouTube channel. It's all the older kids, it's all the 4th graders, so. Anyway, we're done with the rambling session. We're getting this engine pulled out, and it took me about 3 days, but I worked in small, short increments of maybe like 20 to 30 minutes across those 3 days. And y'all peep the Jeff Gordon hat? I picked it up at like a thrift store, antique store, whatever you want to call it. Dude, it's fire. Early 2000s NASCAR memorabilia or merchandise or whatever you want to call it. So sick. Design, top tier. Part of me's kind of thinking, you know, how sick would it be to make the E30 kind of look like an early 2000s NASCAR? Why? Just because. Well, the 07K is officially out of the Mark II, and I don't see any apparent like cracks or anything major. The majority of the water was actually leaking out somewhere around here, like coming down from the front main seal. The freeze plug here seems like it's intact. I don't see any like obvious cracking or anything. Like it's completely perfectly intact. Oh, you know what though? If you compare it to this freeze plug on my other 07K, it's not like sticking out. Well, this one is sticking out a little bit, so perhaps it did its job and expanded a little bit, and then maybe we can just kind of tap this back in with a hammer. I don't know if that works like that, because that would make sense. It was leaking, and then it would run down the front main seal and then start to drip from there. And then back here, I don't see anything major, any sort of major cracking or any other freeze plugs that are sticking out. And I believe this back here on the top of the head right here by the injectors, I believe that's also a freeze plug, and nothing seems to be wrong with it. There was also leaking coming from the water pump, so maybe frozen water like pushed out on the seal of the water pump. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think it's okay, actually. I might be able to just reseal everything up. I don't know if that freeze plug is able to be tapped back in with a hammer. I don't know if it works like that. I don't know. But I think what we're going to end up doing is just breaking this down to the short block, resealing everything, reseal the front seal, rear main seal, all that stuff. Or maybe we do something stupid, like, I don't know, run this video up and I'll get $3,500 from this video and then I can put ITBs on it or something. That'd be cool. Oh, but then I would need a standalone, and I don't want to do that with this car. Maybe I'll learn how to rebuild an engine. Take it apart, you know, do the rods, bearings, all that kind of stuff. That'd be cool. I've never rebuilt an engine before, so I definitely want to learn how to do that. Do like a high compression build on this one and then put it back into the Mark II and then have like a turbo 5-cylinder drift car this one. I don't know what we're going to do. Please leave the comments down below, but the engine is out of the Mark II and now I can start to address everything. Can I maybe just give this a couple little tappy taps? Well, it went back in there. I don't know if that means it's going to happen again. That's good though. It did its job. It expanded with the frozen water. I don't know if that means the engine's junk though. I really don't know. You guys, I'll do some research on Google after I post this video, and then I'm sure I'll get a bunch of comments of, you know, people who are a little bit more intelligent than I. But let me know what you guys think I should do with the engine for the Mark II 07K swap. Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, remember that I am poor, so it's not gonna be anything outstanding or crazy, but it would be cool to like tear apart the whole engine and rebuild it just so, you know, I can learn how to do that. And then do like a Mark VI header and then try to get as much power out of an NA setup as we can. That'd be really cool, like a high rev, like an 8,500, 9,000 RPM 07K Mark II. That'd be sick. I think that's the way to go. We'll see though. The other thing I need to do is clean up all this wiring. I want to get it underneath like a sheathing, like a DEI has. They have like a heat wrapped type thing. And I need to clean up the engine bay. It is crusty, it is dirty. So a lot of things to do with the Mark II, but that's gonna do it for this video. I gotta clean up my mess here at the shop and then go home and edit this video and then hopefully get it up tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments what we should do with the 07K Mark II's engine. And yeah, we'll go from there. Thank you guys for watching. Much love. If you guys want to see more Mark II stuff or 07K swap E30 stuff, drift car stuff, you know, you could subscribe. That'd be cool. Thanks, guys. Love you guys. Have a good night.